finish. Chris Morris with the outlet to Stockton, who's fouled by Jones.
Now, Steve, earlier you were telling me that Stockton had lost his quickness, had lost his instincts. The guy was the quickest guy to the ball right there. Eddie Jones, though, a moment before, just right down the lane. You see Carl smothering him. That was George Gervin as well. We've seen George to open the game. We've seen him to close the game.
You're gonna revive the Iceman?
Well, after shooting only 33% from the floor in the third quarter, the Lakers are 7 of 10 in the fourth. They need a stop. Malone.
There's a guy that's going to be the heartbreaker for them. Every time they get close, they've gone to Karl Malone. 4 in the quarter.
26 in the game. Laker timeout.
It's that response again by Utah. Every single time the Lakers make that push, somebody, Stockton, Malone, they're coming through.
So for every Laker run, and the Lakers have applied some pressure.
There's a lot of time here. What changes are going to have to be made with the Lakers?
Well, the main thing is that we need a leader. Right now, we have no leader. We need somebody to fire this team up, because this is the only game in this 4-game series that we actually played with some emotion and really played with some fire. And it can't be Shaquille. We need somebody that handles the ball a lot. Has to be a leader on this team.
When you say leader, would that indicate that Del Harrison, his position, would be under review?
Well, that may be. I don't know what Dr. Buss or Jerry West is thinking, but what bothered me about this series is that we played 4 games the same way. We haven't made the adjustments like we should have. And then, we haven't played with any passion. I don't mind if we lose, but it's the way we've been losing that bothers me.
You mentioned Jerry West. He has a very difficult decision. I know you want him to stay. Many of the players want him to stay. What do you think ultimately will be his decision?
Well, I don't know. I think he's leaning more toward not coming back than staying, but I don't know what's going to happen. Jerry West's going to have to, explain it to everybody after the season. I hope he stays. The players, the fans, everybody hopes he stays. But tell Bill Walton and your boy over there, Steve, to give up some of that money and give it to him. Maybe he'll stay.
It does seem to be a money issue, guys. There'll be much more on the Jerry West. Magic, thank you, Tom.
All right, Jim, I can't even get them to pick up a dinner check. You can give up some of them. They won't cut loose for that cash.
This has to be so frustrating for Magic Johnson, who was the king of the big games, who was the king of emotional leadership, who was the king of taking charge out there. And to see the Lakers playing so flat and lifeless and unemotional throughout the vast majority of this series, just terribly disappointing.
Eddie Jones sliding out of bounds. Shaq is 4 for 4 in the quarter. Why don't they give it to him?
Well, they tried a couple of times. The Lakers took the passing angle away from them. They took too much time to try to get the ball in. They were too obvious in where they wanted to go. So they got to move the ball, move people a lot quicker. You're still within 6.
First turnover of the quarter committed by the Lakers. They've got Stockton double teamed in the corner. Pitches it out to Hornacek.
But the double teams don't bother John Stockton.
Antoine Carr. Back rim to Malone with an offensive board.
Now they'll make the Lakers play a full 24 seconds, get them even more tired, even more frustrated.
14 rebounds for Karl Malone. He's been everywhere. Pick and roll. Malone will shoot 2. Corey Blunt with a foul.
Crowd wanted to travel on Karl Malone, but again, it's been the inability to decide what to do with the pick and roll. They get him out of there. Yeah, he sprinted out of the blocks real fast. Almost came out of those bad socks and shoes, but he's going to get the free throws.
The Jazz are really trying to get Karl to go to that hoop more, and he's been finishing magnificently with that left hand. Now he'll be at the foul line. But that play was the perfect example of the partnership on this team.
An NBA Memorial Day special tomorrow starts at 3 p.m. Eastern with NBA Showtime. Dennis Rodman will be featured in Showtime. Then Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Reggie against Michael. The Pacers breaking through with a victory, trailing 2-1 after yesterday's victory at Market Square Arena. Game 4 coming up tomorrow, preceded by Showtime with that Dennis Rodman feature. I think Bob Costas, who in the past has been very critical of Dennis Rodman, will be interviewing Dennis. That'll be showtime, 3 p.m. Eastern, to kick off our NBA playoff coverage on Memorial Day.
I think they're soulmates, Dennis and Bob.
There are a lot of similarities now that you mention it. In fact, I don't know if I've ever seen them together before. Eddie Jones with his 19th point.
Well, the number for the Lakers and Eddie Jones is 20. If he gets 20, they win. So we'll find out whether his number holds up here in the fourth quarter.
Karl Malone has scored the last 6 Jazz points. He has 28.
Terrific pass.
Russell. Rebounded by Jones. Stripped away, Laker ball.
It was Brian Russell's three-pointer at the end of Game 3 Friday night that iced it for Utah. They were looking for that dagger once more.
Rick Fox in the ball game. Kobe Bryant down.
The Lakers, this is the 8th time they've cut the lead to only 6, but they've never been able to get over the hump.
Now here's your man Shaq with the ball. Let's see if he can deliver the goods. His car is all over it.
Shaq under pressure, can't get it down, but will shoot free throws.
Now you know why they groan every time? Because they'd rather see the field goal, because this is your theory coming up. How many do you have to take, Shaq, before you make some?
Oh, now you're starting to blame Shaq for the Lakers not playing well.
No, I'm not blaming him, but you know, the idea is at the end of the game, put him on the line.
He's 3 of 7.
He just missed that one.
Yeah, he's going down, too.
The Lakers clearly going without Robert Horry down the stretch. Maybe that hip is just too sore for Robert to be a factor here.
Lakers finally get it under 6, but they're running out of time. Under 3.5 on the clock.
Well, there's a ton of time with a 5-point ball game, so what they've got to do is continue the defensive pressure, get some doubt in the Jazz's mind, make them a little tentative. Hornacek.
Too easy. Hornacek worked his way inside, laid it in.
Lack of rotation by big people. What the Jazz were talking about, and the Lakers' real weakness defensively.
Jeff has 15, 3 minutes left. Shaq against Carr. Fouled out on the floor. Antoine Carr.
You get a penalty situation as we go back and see how the Lakers get crossed up defensively. Shaq came out high, didn't dance with those feet, got left out there waltzing, and it was an easy 2 for Hornacek.
They've used Shaq defensively, the Jazz have, in the screen and roll every single time.
Shaq hits the free throw after the 5th foul on Antoine Carr, who leaves the game, replaced by Greg Ostertag.
Ostertag has been very effective this afternoon in being a shot blocker and a guy that's caused Shaq to make some adjustments. O'Neal gets both. That's 11 1/4.
And for the game, 30 points for Shaq, just about what he's been averaging throughout the playoffs.
How about Jerry Sloan's use of the big guys, though? Foster, Antoine Carr, Ostertag, Karl Malone, never really in jeopardy of losing any of them.
Malone over Blunt. Ostertag, an offensive board. He beats Shaq to the ball.
Now put it in Stockton's hands if you're the Jazz and just run some clock and give it back to Karl Malone.
When you're scrambling defensively, you don't know when the shot is coming up, and that's what's happening with the Los Angeles Lakers, and they haven't had a chance to get good defensive rebound.
Shaq's coming in transition. Good time for a lob.
There's the entry pass against Ostertag. Drives baseline and is fouled.